Good morning, guys. Today we're going to be doing another reading lesson, and this time we're going to be focusing on finding a great spot to read and becoming independent readers. In second grade, our goal for you as readers is to become independent, and that means being able to do something on your own. We also want you to be able to read for a long period of time. Independence is great because it shows that you're growing up and you're maturing, but I mean, it's also okay to read with somebody. I like reading with my daughter. Do you like reading with Max?
I do. It's one of our favorite things.
It is. But have you noticed that as Max and Mia have gotten bigger, they like to read on their own more often?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's really exciting too.
It is, right? And do you like to read on your own?
I do. I also love to do that. In fact, we just love reading. I like to read independently and I like to read with my son.
And I get more out of it when I read on my own. Get more into the story. So in order for you guys to become those independent readers, we have 5 rules that we want you to follow in second grade. That first rule is to read the whole time. That means that if you have set aside 20 minutes for reading, which is what we want our second graders to get to do, that's our goal, is 20 minutes of reading a day, then you read the entire time. You don't stop and get a snack. You don't stop to play with your animals, you don't have a conversation with your mom, or just, go in your room because you're bored, or flip through your book because you don't want to read that page anymore. Reading the whole time means starting and continuing to read until your time is done. The second rule is to stay in one spot. It doesn't matter where that spot is, as long as it's a good spot for you to read. It can be outside, it can be inside, it can be on a couch in the living room, the kitchen table. It doesn't have to be at a desk in a chair. As long as you stay there. You don't get up and walk to the living room after you started outside under a tree.
Right, because if you start walking to a tree, you're probably not reading the whole time. You've probably taken a break to start walking.
Yes.
So
stay in one spot the entire time. Our third rule is to get started right away. So as second graders, we still rely on our parents to help keep us focused and kind of know what we should be doing. And so if your parents are telling you that it's time to start your 20 minutes of reading, we want to be respectful and start that right away. We don't want to say, well, give me 5 more minutes and let me finish this level on the video game, or I'm almost done with this and as soon as I finish that, I'll do it. We want to get started right away as soon as it's time to get started.
And that actually shows a lot of maturity. To listen to a parent's directions right away when they ask you to do something really shows that they are ready for second grade and to take on all the responsibilities that we have for them too.
Our fourth rule is to work quietly. Now, that doesn't mean that you have to be silent while you're reading, because some people like to hear themselves read and they read out loud. They might whisper read the words on the page. They might read at a normal volume, and that just helps them understand what they're reading better. But if you are a person that needs to read out loud while you're reading, we want to be sure that we're aware of those around us, right?
Yeah, because maybe we have a sibling that's working at home and they might be on a Zoom call, or maybe mom and dad are trying to do their own work at home right now or helping another sibling. So if you need to talk out loud, try to have a respectful distance away so that you can focus on your story, but they can also focus on their work too.
And our last one, our 5th rule, is to build stamina. Stamina is a big word that you might not have heard of. Stamina just means to be able to do something for a long period of time. And for our lesson today, it means to be able to read for a long period of time. Tomorrow we're going to have an entire lesson on building stamina, so we'll go into more detail about that then. But all we want you to remember is that if you set aside 20 minutes to read, we want you to get to the point where you can read for the whole 20 minutes. So tonight, for homework, we're going to ask that you guys find that special perfect spot for reading. Ms. Marquardt, do you have a special perfect spot for reading?
Oh, I do, but don't tell anyone.
Okay.
My perfect place to read is on my balcony. So we have it's on the 2nd floor of our home, and it's high up, and there's traffic going through. There's trucks and cars, and the trees, the leaves are blowing, and people are walking all over. And I love to just be outside and get that fresh air on the balcony away from other people in my house. How about you?
Well, I noticed that you said that you don't mind when there's like noise around when you're reading.
Not at all.
I I'm like completely the opposite. I need it super quiet or I can't focus on what I'm reading. If the TV's on or there's music on or somebody's having a conversation around me, then I find myself rereading the same sentences or the same paragraphs over and over and not remembering what I read. So for me, and I also like to read indoors, I usually sit on the couch, maybe with my cat next to me, cuddling up, and in a quiet room, because that's what works for me.
So we have a lot of differences, but we were both able to find a special spot to read. So we're going to try and have all of you find a special spot to read. But in your work assignment today, you're going to get to draw a picture of that special spot or describe it in words so that you can share it with us.
And if you don't know what your special reading spot at home is yet, or maybe you have more than one, why don't you try a couple different spots and follow these rules and see if that spot works for you before you do that assignment.